Sheng Yan was an overworked modern engineer who spent all day drafting technical blueprints. After collapsing from extreme overwork at his job, he suddenly woke up in a completely new body. To his absolute shock, he realized he had been reincarnated into the body of a royal prince. Sitting on his wooden throne, he decided to embrace his brand new royal life as Prince Roland. He resolved to use his modern technical knowledge to live comfortably and develop his kingdom. However, he soon realized this world was far more backward and superstitious than he had imagined. He witnessed a young witch tied up with a noose and preparing to be executed. People in this kingdom feared witches and wrongly treated their magic as an evil curse. Roland realized these magical abilities were actually valuable resources that could help build his civilization. Standing up before the crowd, Prince Roland loudly shouted to release the captured witch immediately. He stepped forward onto the wooden platform, determined to protect her from the executioner. The witch Anna sternly warned the prince that getting involved with her could be fatal. Roland narrows his eyes as he carefully ponders his strategy for developing the territory. Meanwhile, Anna happily eats a delicious hot meal inside the warm castle. Remembering his past life as an overworked engineer, Roland plans to combine science with magic. He vows to lead his kingdom down a path of intense technological and agricultural progress. Roland realizes witches can excel in production, healthcare, and education if given proper roles. He designs various blueprints for steam pumps, furnaces, and modern industrial tools. With magic fueling heavy machinery, building a modern society becomes genuinely possible. Roland excitedly declares that he wants to recruit every witch in the realm. Suddenly, a mysterious hooded woman approaches Prince Roland inside his office. She leans in very close and speaks to him with a playful smile. The visitor teasingly remarks that his personal life seems quite chaotic. Roland dismisses her joke, focusing strictly on his paperwork and town development. Roland focuses his gaze, determined to fulfill his duty and prove himself as a true prince. He aims to lead the common people together to build a prosperous and wealthy town. However, terrifying demonic beasts threaten to destroy everything he works hard to build. Fortunately, reliable allies like the fierce warrior Iron Axe are ready to protect the realm. Roland considers his royal rivals, starting with his eldest brother, who possesses unmatched physical strength. His second brother uses immense wealth and sly freedom to manipulate events behind the scenes. His formidable third sister commands high society while leading powerful ships across the ocean. His quiet fifth sister hides extraordinary intelligence behind an innocent and studious appearance. Back in reality, Nightingale grabs Roland by the chin and teases him lightheartedly. She pulls herself dangerously close, climbing right onto his lap without hesitation. Nightingale whispers directly into his ear, leaving the prince completely flustered and blushing. Watching from nearby, Anna reacts with surprise as the mysterious witch moves in. Roland stands in the room, preparing to explain his true identity to Nightingale and Anna. Roland facepalms as he formally introduces himself as Prince Roland Wimbledon of Grey Castle. He sighs, recalling how overwork killed him in his past life as an engineer. Suddenly, a cheerful guard interrupts to excitedly rally support for the prince. The guard urges everyone to cast their votes so the prince can make a great debut. Roland glares in annoyance as the loud, repetitive cheering grows even more ridiculous. Fed up with the noise, Roland promptly smacks the annoying guard on his head. A mysterious voice breaks through the darkness, urgently telling the prince to wake up. Roland begins to wake up, feeling deeply confused about who is calling him. The loud calls continue to shake him awake as he returns to full consciousness. Roland wakes up sitting in an ornate wooden chair, startled as he looks around. Dressed in fine royal clothes, he sits on a grand platform overlooking a square. He looks around in complete confusion, wondering what is happening to him. Looking down at his gloved hands, he realizes he is now in an entirely different body. Nearby noble women giggle and whisper behind their fans as they watch him. A massive crowd has gathered in the square below, surrounding a wooden gallows. Roland suddenly remembers his past life as an overworked engineer drawing blueprints. He recalls stressing out over a strict work deadline right before waking up here. An old bald man with a white beard turns to speak directly to him. The old man urges Roland to quickly give the order to start the execution. Roland scratches his head in total confusion, having no idea who is being executed. Suddenly, a wave of forgotten memories surges into his mind with shocking clarity. Roland suddenly gasps as memories of his new body flood into his mind. He realizes he is no longer just a modern engineer from Earth. Sweat drips down his face as he pieces together his new identity. He is actually Roland Wimbledon, the fourth prince of the kingdom of Grey Castle. This new royal position comes with a dangerous contest for the crown. His father, the king, established a brutal decree called the Fight for the Throne. The king sent his 5 grown children to rule different territories across the realm. Roland knelt among his royal siblings, knowing this competition was a matter of survival. The ruler demanded to see their governing skills after 5 years of leadership. The intense king made it clear that only the strongest leader would inherit his kingdom. However, Roland quickly notices that the starting line for each sibling is not equal at all. His tough older siblings were gifted strong military power and great combat skills from the start. His older brother controls massive wealth and trade, giving him a huge financial advantage in the royal contest. His sister commands a powerful naval fleet equipped with heavy cannons. dominating the sea with military strength. Meanwhile, his youngest sister possesses vast knowledge and top-tier intelligence, making her another dangerous competitor. Compared to his incredible siblings, Roland feels completely hopeless about his own pitiful starting stats. To make matters worse, his assigned territory of Border Town is filthy, poor, and utterly disgusting. Roland facepalms in total despair, wondering how he can possibly survive and win under these awful conditions. Suddenly, an old minister interrupts his panic, asking him to immediately confirm the sentence for an execution. Roland snaps back to reality and gasps as he suddenly remembers what he was doing before. He points out frantically, realizing the terrible event he is about to oversee right at this moment. A giant crowd of townspeople has gathered in the central plaza around a newly built wooden stage. Roland finally remembers that he was brought out here today to publicly execute an accused witch. Prince Roland listens as his subordinates urge him to take immediate action against the witches. Chief Knight Carter Lannis insists that this is a serious matter requiring an urgent response. The men continue to press the prince, ignoring his hesitation and discomfort with the situation. They demand the witches be executed before more arrive to cause trouble for the kingdom. Roland remains silent, his expression unreadable as he processes the aggressive demands of his men. Roland abruptly dismisses them, claiming he needs rest, and ordering everyone to leave him alone. Carter and the others look confused by the prince's sudden change in attitude and behavior. The scene shifts to the quiet, lonely halls of the prince's temporary residence at the castle. Roland retreats behind closed doors, finally finding a moment of solitude away from the guards. Alone in the room, the prince struggles to catch his breath after the tense confrontation. He appears deeply troubled, his mind clearly racing with the heavy weight of his decisions. Roland is overwhelmed with regret, horrified by the reality of the actions he has taken. Roland wonders if he died from overwork and woke up in this strange new world. He recalls his past life as a modern man and realizes his current situation is surreal. A moment of intense realization washes over him as he accepts his strange new reality. Roland decides to stop complaining and embrace his new life as a prince. He fully commits to his identity as Prince Roland, ready to face the challenges ahead. He focuses his mind on learning more about the mysterious witch he must save. His guard follows him, worried that his plan to approach the witch is too dangerous. The guard warns him that his safety is not guaranteed in such a dark place. Roland dismisses the guard's concerns, finding the idea of the witch being a threat ridiculous. The loyal guard continues to fret, trying to convince the prince to be more careful. Roland finds his guard's constant chatter annoying while they walk down the dark hallway. He finally arrives at the prison gate, ready to confront the truth about the witch. Roland walks through the dark and gloomy prison hallway to find the witch. A young, lonely girl sits curled up in the corner of her cold cell. Roland stands before the iron bars, looking directly at the mysterious prisoner. The girl remains huddled in the shadows, her hands bound behind her back. Roland approaches the bars while his guard watches the girl with great fear. The girl looks up, revealing her face as Roland stares back at her. Roland keeps a calm expression while he prepares to speak to the prisoner. The terrified guard lunges forward and shouts for Roland to stay away. Roland stays cool and tells his guard there is no need to worry. Roland ignores the fear and calmly asks the young girl for her name. The guard panics, warning that she is a dangerous monster who survives fire. The guard screams that the witch will surely use her magic to trick him. Prince Roland presses Anna to explain her tragic past in the mines. The prince and his guard listen intently as Anna shares her memories. Anna reveals the pain of her father being trapped during a collapse. She explains how a cruel worker tried to steal from her father. The worker, Ansgar, saw a chance to rob the helpless, trapped man. Ansgar attacked, shouting insults at the defenseless man in the rubble. Ansgar aggressively threatened the man while holding a heavy wooden club. The scene turned violent as Ansgar struck out in his greed. Anna screams for her uncle Ansgar to stop his heartless attack. Ansgar ignores her pleas, determined to steal regardless of the cost. Anna screams in desperation as she reaches out toward her father. Her eyes widen in shock as her hidden magical power suddenly awakens. Blank. True, a powerful blast of energy erupts from her, consuming the greedy man. The man is reduced to ashes, leaving only a burnt mark behind. The bystanders stare in horror and disbelief at the witch's terrifying power. Anna looks down, trembling and overwhelmed by what she has just done. She is haunted by the realization that her secret is now revealed. True terrified, Anna begs the people around her to keep her secret safe. Prince Roland visits Anna in her cold prison cell to discuss her fate. The prison is dark and intimidating, holding the young witch captive inside. Prince Roland asks Anna if her own neighbor reported her for magic. Anna is clearly distressed as she prepares to reveal the painful truth. Anna reveals the heartbreaking news that her own father reported her. Her father begs the prince to execute her immediately for being a witch. Prince Roland ignores the man, curious to see a witch's power firsthand. Anna challenges the prince, asking if he truly wants to see her powers. Prince Roland confirms he is interested and wants to see what she can do. Anna looks at the heavy chains around her neck, remembering her tragic past. Roland asks Anna if she truly dares to let him remove her magic-suppressing locket. Anna warns the prince that satisfying his curiosity could easily lead to his death. Ignoring her warning, Roland reaches out and unfastens the chain around her neck. Free from the suppressing locket, Anna drops down onto the cold dungeon floor. Her dormant magical energy suddenly explodes outward, shattering the heavy iron chains. Anna looks up in utter shock that Roland actually dared to remove her seal. Roland casually tosses the locket away and encourages her to show her magic. Roland watches her closely with steady eyes, showing no fear of her magical power. Anna glares back fiercely as her suppressed magic begins surging through her body. Bright embers and intense heat begin radiating from the stone floor beneath her feet. Flames burst into life around Anna as her magical fire blazes with fierce fury. A roaring circle of fire spirals through the dungeon cell as her magic fully awakens. Prince Roland looks on with shock as the sudden wave of magical heat fills the room. The dungeon cell erupts into a roaring sea of fire, blinding everyone standing outside the bars. Roland recoils in total shock, completely unprepared for the terrifying power radiating from the witch. Anna floats calmly at the center of the blaze, her glowing magical flames swirling around her body. The intense magical heat becomes so extreme that the solid iron cell bars begin to break apart. Sensing severe danger, Roland's armored knight immediately grabs the prince to pull him back to safety. The knight holds Roland back as the prince stares in disbelief at the unstoppable magical inferno. The thick iron bars melt like wax under the unbearable temperature of Anna's unleashed magic. Roland yells out in fear as Anna steps forward through the sea of blazing fire toward him. Despite the destruction, Anna remains totally composed as her magical flames reach their maximum power. Swirling fire completely engulfs Anna, creating a terrifying wall of flame inside the dungeon cell. Roland can only watch in stunned silence as the witch unleashes her full, unbridled magical strength. Smoke and embers fill the air as Anna stands unbothered by her own blazing magic. Since Anna generates the fire herself, the scorching heat cannot burn or scare her. The roaring blaze slowly dies down, leaving thick smoke drifting through the dungeon corridor. Prince Roland and his guards cautiously look through the haze to see if the fire is gone. Roland is thrilled to confirm magic exists, instantly realizing its potential for industrial power. He envisions using her fire magic to run high-heat blast furnaces and industrial steam engines. Anna speaks up, telling the prince she has satisfied his request to see her magic. Assuming her life is over, Anna calmly tells Roland he can execute her now. She stands barefoot in the smoke, completely resigned to whatever punishment awaits her. Instead of calling the executioner, Prince Roland begins taking off his long coat. Roland tosses his heavy dark cloak across the room toward the shivering girl. Anna is shocked when she catches the warm coat and wraps it tightly around herself. Anna stares up in complete disbelief when Prince Roland gently speaks her name. Roland offers to help her, promising that she will no longer be treated like a prisoner. Roland realizes magic breaks the normal laws of physics, making endless energy possible. He understands that a witch's powers can function like an ultimate source of power. Roland believes using magic for science is far better than a perpetual motion machine. His old assistant Barov freaks out when Roland announces his plan to hire a witch. Barov warns that hiring a witch could easily bring a terrible calamity upon them all. He panics that defying the Holy Church will lead to their complete destruction. Roland ignores the panic and calmly asks Barov to draft a formal employment contract. He reminds his assistant of his official duties and insists on making the contract. Roland then commands his staff to arrange a comfortable house for Anna to live in. Inside his grand castle, Prince Roland continues his secret conversation with his advisor, Barov. Barov reminds Roland that publicly, the witch was already reported as executed in the town square. He frantically warns the prince that secretly protecting a witch carries a massive risk. Roland firmly replies that he does not view witches as evil demons or dangerous monsters. Barov tries to argue back, terrified of the consequences from the church and kingdom. Roland sits back and asks Barov to look closely at their current situation in Border Town. He reminds his advisor that this desolate territory is currently a miserable place to rule. His older brother controls vast wealth, while his sister commands a powerful army and naval fleet. Roland knows he cannot win the crown through ordinary money or traditional military force. Barov falls silent, unable to deny the bleak reality of their struggle for power. Roland forcefully stomps his foot to emphasize that staying weak is not an option. He declares that he must embrace a completely new path to transform his territory. Prince Roland slams his detailed plans onto the desk, completely stunning his minister Barov. Roland then asks Barov to bring Lady Anna so she can begin her new role. Meanwhile, a hot steaming bath is prepared inside the palace for Anna. Two friendly maidservants scrub Anna clean and wash her hair in the warm tub. After bathing, the maids present Anna with a brand new set of work clothes to wear. Anna blushes nervously as she gets used to wearing her stylish new outfit. An attendant guides Anna through the palace grounds to where Prince Roland is waiting. Dressed in her neat new uniform, Anna walks outside with a sense of purpose. She steps forward with confidence, ready to begin working directly under the prince. Outside, a newly constructed wooden cabin sits ready as a private training area for Anna. Roland inspects the practice hut and feels very pleased with the quick construction work. Prince Roland meets with Anna at the practice shack to see her magic. Roland observes Anna, who is now wearing a clean, practical maid outfit. Anna stands quietly while Roland inspects her new, tidy appearance. Her new clothes are designed to be comfortable and easy to move in. Roland is pleased with his choice of clothing for the young witch. He thinks standard worker or magician robes are too bulky for her. Roland tells Anna that this outfit is perfect for a witch's work. He kindly asks Anna if she feels comfortable wearing these new clothes. Anna feels nervous and questions why Roland would help someone like her. She asks if he is afraid of her evil, corrupted witch blood. Anna worries that her dangerous nature makes her a threat to him. She remembers her painful past and fears being treated like a monster. Roland remembers the angry crowd that once condemned Anna for her magical gifts. Anna listens closely as the prince speaks about her situation with great kindness. She looks up at him with wide, hopeful eyes, surprised by his perspective. Roland explains that people only fear witches because they do not understand them. Blank. True, he tells Anna that her power is her own and not a demonic curse. Anna feels a spark of hope as she truly hears his supportive words. He reaches out to her, offering his hand in a gesture of partnership. Blank. True, the dim room feels less like a prison and more like a workshop. Anna takes a deep breath, feeling determined to prove her worth to Roland. Roland asks if she has the strength to continue their difficult task together. Anna focuses her magical energy, causing flames to dance around her feet. She carefully practices controlling the fire, though she still struggles to master it. Anna realizes that learning to control her unique fire magic is quite difficult. She keeps her intense focus, determined to improve her skills for the prince. Suddenly, a flash of fire destroys her clothing, leaving her in a panic. Anna crouches down, feeling embarrassed as her clothes are ruined by her magic. She feels relieved that she chose to wear simple practice clothes instead of her maid outfit. Prince Roland is interrupted in his work when a guard rushes to see him. The guard looks urgent and worried as he approaches the prince to speak. He reports that demonic beasts have been spotted, signaling an early start to the winter. Anna looks up, surprised and concerned by the sudden, dangerous news about the demons. The prince looks confused, wondering what this early arrival means for his people. The story continues with Chapter 7 of Prince Roland's struggle to survive the winter. Prince Roland is shocked to learn that the dangerous months of the demon are arriving. He listens intently as the guard explains the terrifying nature of the upcoming season. Roland looks at Anna, wondering how the witches will handle this looming, deadly threat. The guard describes how the sun dims and the gates of hell open in mountains. A mysterious elder explains the dark, fiery dangers hidden within the mountain's deep caverns. The guard emphasizes that protecting the people remains the prince's most urgent top priority. Roland processes this grim information, realizing his plans must change to face the beasts. The mountain is described as a place that is impossible for normal humans to cross. The elder warns that the area is filled with a deadly, poisonous, evil miasma. He reveals that only a fallen witch could potentially survive the horrors of the mountain. Roland asks the guard if he has ever actually seen a demonic beast before today. An elder explains that very few people in the kingdom have ever seen a real demonic beast. He wonders how the town can ever grow if they have to keep migrating every single year. Prince Roland reflects that Border Town seems like a hopeless place instead of a land with potential. Roland asks the elder if they can actually fight and defeat the demons at Border Town. Roland considers the true reason why the town was built in such a harsh location. Roland listens closely to the elder's advice about the best way to prepare for the coming threat. The elder suggests using people who have lived there for 5 years to fight the beasts. Blank. True, Roland sits down for a quiet drink and conversation with a young woman in a fancy dress. He offers her a glass as they continue their serious discussion about the kingdom's future. The woman explains that the months of the demon are a yearly nightmare for ordinary people. Prince Roland listens intently as the young woman speaks about the struggles of the common people. She explains how someone in her past was once very protective of her during hard times. Roland sits with her in the garden to discuss the future of the town and its survival. He reflects on the harsh treatment of witches and commoners by the royals in power. Frustrated by the past, Roland slams his fist down to emphasize his resolve for change. He vows that the tragic months of the demon will never threaten his people again. Prince Roland looks at the woman and gives her his firm guarantee of protection. He stands up to leave, ready to carry out the tasks he has planned for the town. Roland walks away from the garden, determined to see his new plans through to the end. The scene shifts to the government affairs office in Border Town, where business continues. Roland meets with his men to confirm if they have found the specific people he requested. They confirm that the guards from the North Slope mine have finally arrived to see him. Prince Roland interviews the Border Town patrol captains about the dangerous demonic beasts. The prince also listens to a rugged hunter who has faced these monsters. The guard explains how they use fire beacons to warn the townspeople to escape. Prince Roland asks for details about the appearance and weaknesses of the beasts. The guard confirms that although the beasts are ferocious, they can be killed. The hunter interrupts the meeting, eager to share his own experience with combat. Prince Roland looks on, intrigued by the hunter's bold and confident claim. The hunter stands tall, radiating an intense and powerful aura of determination. He prepares to recount his legendary battle against the terrifying demonic creatures. The hunter stands ready to prove his worth before the young prince. He proudly declares that he has successfully killed 2 demonic beasts before. A mysterious, powerful figure kneels before Prince Roland in a display of deep respect. The prince observes the man, noting his intense aura and past experience with beasts. Roland wonders about the man's background and his rumored connection to ancient giants. The prince listens carefully as the man begins to explain his hunting expertise. The man asks Roland if he truly understands the nature of the demonic beasts. Roland questions the man about the strange species he has encountered in the forest. The hunter explains how they classify animals that have become dangerous, mutated threats. He describes the terrifying transformation of common creatures into monstrous, lethal predators. The man details the incredible speed of wolves and the thick armor of boars. He warns that these beasts are now much harder to kill with standard weapons. Roland listens intently, realizing these evolved animals pose a serious danger to his town. The prince considers this information, knowing he must prepare his defenses against them. Roland slams his hands on the desk to make a dramatic announcement to his men. Prince Roland boldly declares that he has decided to stay and defend Border Town. He places his gloved hand over his heart, showing his complete dedication to this decision. Roland refuses to abandon his people and run away like a coward this time. His chief knight looks completely shocked by the prince's extremely dangerous choice. The old hunter also gasps in total disbelief at the prince's bold declaration. The chief knight urgently argues that fighting thousands of demonic beasts without a wall is suicide. Roland stands calm and unbothered while his knight frantically tries to convince him to flee. Prince Roland assures him that he plans to construct a massive defensive wall in time. The knight protests that building a city wall in under 4 months is completely impossible. Roland promises to retreat to the stronghold if the wall is not ready in time. Reassured by the safety plan, the chief knight bows and vows to protect Roland with his life. A knight kneels and pledges his absolute loyalty to Prince Roland. The scene shifts to the busy and bustling blue water port. A mysterious woman wearing an eye patch watches the harbor intently. The woman notes that the air is getting colder as winter nears. She asks her companion when their fleet will finally return home. The pair stands on the docks, waiting for the ships to arrive. Her companion replies that the fleet should arrive in 3 days. The woman hopes the ships bring her a very pleasant surprise. She believes that gold is useless unless it is spent wisely. She stands alone by the water, contemplating her upcoming grand plans. In the palace, the woman walks with a knight toward the throne. She questions her father's foolish plan to start a throne war. Princess Garcia Wimbledon wears an eye patch and stares down her advisor. She asks if the best city ruler deserves to take the throne. Garcia explains that her fleet is not just for stealing gold. The Black Sail fleet is gathering strong warriors and winning over the people. Garcia is a calculated leader who relies on her own massive wealth. She sits on her throne, ready to claim the kingdom for herself. She waits for updates on her brothers who are also fighting for power. Ryan reports that Prince Roland's plan failed, but other brothers are silent. Garcia calmly sips her tea while discussing the deadly royal competition. She assumes her silent brothers have been killed by their rivals. She is annoyed that the fourth prince is still alive and safe. Ryan insists he saw the fourth prince swallow the lethal pill himself. Princess Garcia drinks her tea while carefully considering her next move against her brother. She orders a soldier to send a letter to Kingfisher to capitalize on the situation. Garcia wears an eye patch and looks cold as she discusses the failed poisoning attempt. She confirms the lethal pill was purchased from the famous alchemy master in Bills. The soldier confirms the source, but Garcia remains frustrated that Roland is still alive. She stares ahead, her mind clearly plotting a more permanent solution for the prince. With ruthless intent, Garcia coldly commands her subordinate to hang him instead. The scene shifts to a peaceful field where a young woman sits among sheep. A man in dark robes approaches her and asks what she is reading today. He wonders if she is studying noble poetry or the history of religious development. A young girl addresses a man named Teacher Carl Van Bate with a polite greeting. The peaceful scene suddenly shatters like broken glass, signaling a dark turn in events. The world continues to crack and fall apart into sharp, jagged pieces of reality. Everything dissolves into dark, empty fragments, leaving behind only a sense of deep unease. Teacher Carl appears, his face wide with shock as he stares at the unfolding chaos. A man in religious robes stands before a crowd, his expression stern and unyielding. An angry mob screams for justice, calling for a witch to be hanged immediately. The religious figure looms over the situation, his presence casting a heavy shadow. Carl looks around in alarm, sensing the danger and hatred surrounding the event. A hooded figure stands silently, trapped in a noose and waiting for their grim fate. The trapdoor beneath the prisoner remains shut for now, surrounded by thick, dusty cobwebs. A single hand reaches out into the darkness, perhaps in a final plea for help. A man sits alone, gripped by a sudden and overwhelming sense of dread. He clutches his head in agony, unable to escape his dark, haunting thoughts. Deep in his study, he struggles to process his traumatic, recurring nightmares. He is tormented by the vision of young Anna facing a cruel execution. He realizes the true villains are the greedy officials who prioritize gold over lives. He reflects on the corruption that led to a tragic building collapse, killing many. He grows furious, believing that those corrupt, money-hungry men deserve to be hanged. He is horrified that innocent workers were blamed while the real criminals escaped justice. He contemplates the systemic cruelty of a kingdom that punishes the innocent as devils. Looking in the mirror, He questions the nature of true evil and divine justice. A mysterious door opens, revealing a young girl who seems distressed and in need of help. The girl approaches her teacher, looking worried and clearly upset about her current condition. She pulls on his robe, telling him that something feels wrong with her body today. The young girl looks up with tear-filled eyes, pleading for her teacher to understand her pain. Her teacher tries to comfort her, promising that he will protect her and make her better. He gently pats her head to reassure her, but his mind is clearly troubled by her words. The teacher walks alone through the town, reflecting on the heavy burden now resting on him. He regrets staying silent during the past tragedies and vows to save the girl this time. He marches forward with newfound resolve, determined to take action and change their grim future. His expression hardens as he prepares to face whatever challenges stand in his way to safety. The teacher is shocked to see a crowd gathering around a new notice board. The people are gossiping and mocking the idea that anyone can find work here. A large notice appears, offering various construction jobs in the growing border town. The prince is even offering gold and official positions to those who prove their worth. The teacher stares at the notice in complete disbelief, his eyes wide with surprise. The official seal of Prince Roland confirms that this recruitment is truly real. The teacher realizes that the prince is actually serious about changing the town's future. He thinks about the innocent girls he wants to save from their tragic fates. He fears that supporting the prince might brand him as a dangerous witch accomplice. He hopes the prince will challenge the cruel laws of the powerful holy church. True Roland reflects on his duty to protect the surviving witch, Nana. He is determined to fix the broken parts of his life and kingdom. Roland asks his guard about the planned width for the new wall. They continue their inspection while walking side by side near the ruins. Roland explains his technical plan for digging a deep, stable foundation. The guard looks surprised by the complex engineering behind the wall design. The guard asks what the main problem with the construction project is. Roland promises that digging and building will happen at the same time. Roland tells the guard that a special discovery will soon surprise him. They arrive at the building where the cement is being produced. The guard asks if the mysterious cement can truly be created here. Roland knows that controlling the temperature is the secret to making high-quality cement. He worries because they lack the proper tools to manage such extreme heat levels. Roland approaches a mysterious, steamy room where a witch is working hard inside. Roland orders his guard, Carter, to wait outside while he enters the facility. Roland realizes that only a witch's unique power can achieve the necessary heat. The young witch looks tired but determined as she steps out to meet him. She is covered in dust and soot from her intense work in the heat. Roland kindly hands her a cloak to cover herself after her difficult task. She tells the prince that she has successfully completed her assignment for him. Roland inspects a pile of gray powder, wondering if it is the cement. He decides he must test the material himself to see if it works. Roland explains that his new building material will protect people from harsh weather and storms. Roland tells Anna that this amazing invention is only possible because of her unique powers. Roland gently pats Anna on the head to show his appreciation for her hard work. The group gathers outside to inspect the bricks that have been drying near the house. Roland examines the hardened block, confirming that the cement mixture has successfully set and solidified. Both Anna and the guard look on in amazement as they see how strong the brick became. The guard is shocked to see the liquid material has turned into a rock-hard solid. Roland points to the seam, noting that the cement has bonded the materials together perfectly. The men struggle to move the heavy, sturdy block, realizing just how dense it actually is. Roland tells the guard not to worry, as he already understands the properties of this material. The guard expresses his disbelief that the liquid from yesterday is now this solid object. The guard asks Roland what practical purpose this strong new material will actually serve. Roland explains that walls cannot stop enemies already hiding inside the castle. The guards watch in amazement as the cement block hardens into solid stone. Roland promises that his people will soon have safe, permanent homes to live in. Roland feels confident that his new inventions will change their future forever. He is determined to make progress and lead his territory toward a better life. Roland stares ahead, focused on his grand vision for the region's development. He declares that witches are the most important resource for advancing their civilization. True workers prepare to use the new materials to build better shelters for everyone. The team works hard to clear the area and prepare for upcoming construction projects. Roland explains that Anna needs to rest while they gather more supplies for building. Roland watches Anna, knowing her unique abilities will help push civilization forward. Prince Roland and his guard finally meet the person they were waiting for. The visitor bows and addresses the prince with great respect. Prince Roland asks a quick question, and the visitor confirms with a simple yes. The visitor looks shocked when he sees Anna standing right in front of him. He stares in disbelief, struggling to believe his eyes. Both men are completely stunned by the surprise reunion. Anna looks at the man and calls out to her teacher. The prince suddenly shouts for the man to get away from her. The prince reacts quickly to protect Anna from the unexpected visitor. He slams his hand down, creating a powerful shockwave in the room. The prince stands firm, keeping a watchful eye on the situation. The mysterious man stumbles forward in shock, unable to believe his eyes. He collapses to his knees, overwhelmed that Anna is still alive. Prince Roland watches the man closely, carefully judging his true intentions. Anna stands near the prince, looking nervous as the stranger continues to stare. The man remains focused on Anna, clearly struggling with his intense emotions. He admits that he lost his cool upon seeing his former student again. With a hand over his heart, he tries to explain his sudden outburst. He confirms to the prince that he was once Anna's teacher. Prince Roland remains calm and composed, keeping a watchful eye on the situation. The man realizes that Prince Roland is not afraid of rumors about witches. The teacher prepares to speak further, hoping for the prince's understanding. A young girl with cat-like ears steps forward, looking extremely nervous and hesitant. She is clearly frightened, her body shaking as she stands before the prince. Her small hands are clenched into tight fists, showing how much she is struggling. She looks up, her wide, innocent eyes filled with deep anxiety and uncertainty. She begins to speak, her voice trembling as she asks a very difficult question. Prince Roland stands calmly, introducing himself as the fourth prince to the girl. She gasps in surprise, seemingly recognizing his name and status immediately. She turns her head quickly to look at the prince, her expression full of shock. She wonders if Roland knows about her teacher and why he is missing. Roland calmly takes a sip of his drink while observing her fearful reaction. The young girl stands quietly with her companion, awaiting the prince's next move. She finally voices her greatest fear, asking Roland if he intends to execute her. Prince Roland listens calmly as the young witch speaks about her fears. She explains she has never actually seen the devil despite the rumors. Roland comforts the young girl with a gentle pat on her head. Roland asks her when her powers first started to appear. The young girl thinks back and says it happened about a week ago. Roland asks what happened immediately after her powers manifested. He is curious to understand how her magic behaves in the real world. Suddenly, water begins to swirl and float around the young witch. She watches in surprise as her magic controls the water near her. Roland calls for his guard, Carter, and asks him to bring a chicken. Carter is confused by this strange request from the prince. Roland clarifies that he needs a healthy, live chicken for his experiment. Prince Roland thinks deeply about the strange rumors surrounding witches and their true nature. He considers how the church uses fear to control the lives of common people. Roland explains that the church claims witches are tools of the devil to lure people. The young witch is confused and denies ever seeing any evil magic or dark creatures. Roland gently tells her that her teacher lied and the church is actually the deceiver. The young witch is shocked to learn that the Holy Church might be lying to everyone. True. The young witch looks worried and asks if using her powers will cause someone harm. She clutches her hands together, feeling nervous about what the prince wants her to do. Roland smiles kindly to reassure her that she is safe and nothing bad will happen. He encourages her to use her magic on the chicken to prove her true power. A soldier looks exhausted while holding a dead chicken, signaling a moment of defeat. The conversation shifts to the young witch Nana Pine and her mysterious abilities. Prince Roland thinks deeply about the best way to handle the situation. Roland narrows his eyes as he makes a firm decision regarding the witches. Roland decides to comfort the group instead of worrying about his complex plans. He kindly directs his attention toward Nana, offering her a friendly smile. Roland suggests they stop worrying and enjoy a meal together instead. He generously gestures toward a table filled with delicious food for everyone. Anna and Nana look at the feast with surprise and delight. The sun begins to set, casting a warm glow over the kingdom. The golden light illuminates the architecture as the long day concludes. The group bids Roland farewell, heading home as the sun finally disappears. Prince Roland gestures to the young girl, Nana Pine, as they walk together. Nana looks up, her eyes wide with a mix of curiosity and worry. Roland explains that her family still does not know she is a witch. They watch as others walk away into the distance under the glowing sunset. Roland looks down at Nana with a serious, thoughtful expression on his face. Nana remains quiet as she listens to the prince's gentle words. Roland asks her softly if she misses her father at all. Nana pauses for a moment before answering him with a simple, firm no. Roland listens carefully to her answer, his face showing deep understanding. The table remains set with food, marking the end of their quiet meeting. Roland decides to take responsibility for the young witch's future development. He plans for Nana to visit daily so she can master her unique powers. Prince Roland promises that a day will come when everyone can live normal lives. He believes that his vision for the kingdom will eventually become a reality. The castle stands tall under the bright, clear sky of the kingdom. Roland sits in his study, carefully reviewing important documents for his future plans. He looks over his notes, focusing on the details of his upcoming projects. Meanwhile, Anna practices using her magical fire while Nana watches with excitement. Roland stands alone on a hill, looking out at the vast land he governs. He feels confident as he considers the progress made in his territory so far. He turns his attention back to the reports regarding the kingdom's current resources. An older man, an official, arrives to share some concerning news with the prince. The official looks worried as he explains the difficult situation they are facing. He warns that their current budget will only last until the next autumn season. The old official urgently tries to get the prince's attention regarding the kingdom's serious money problems. Prince Roland feels the heavy pressure of his empty treasury weighing down on his shoulders. Roland breaks down in a comical, dramatic panic because he is completely broke as a ruler. Roland looks defeated while the official continues to stress about their lack of funds. The advisor watches the prince, waiting for a real solution to save the kingdom from collapse. Roland thinks back to his former life of luxury, which feels very far away right now. He recalls his past, where he spent his days living in comfort without worrying about politics. Roland explains that he relied on a small group of civilians to help him manage administrative tasks. He remembers those early days in Grey Castle when he first started building his new, modest administration. Roland and his guard visit a mysterious witch who is currently being held in the prison. Prince Roland worries because the town's income is far too low to support his plans. He thinks deeply about how to solve the kingdom's financial struggles and save his people. Roland realizes that trading away their hard-earned resources for basic rations is a terrible deal. The town currently sends most of its or harvest away, leaving them with very little profit. Roland knows he must find a new way to make money to improve the town's future. An official panics, fearing that the prince's strange new ideas mean he is possessed by a devil. Roland remains focused on his goals, unaware of the officials' growing concern and superstitious fears. The scene shifts to the humble and quiet pier of Border Town, where visitors have arrived. A visitor walks onto the wooden pier, noting how run down and poor the town still looks. Two men stand on the pier, appearing to be representatives from a more wealthy or powerful location. The men walk forward, their formal clothing standing out against the simple surroundings of the pier. One man mocks the town, claiming it has nothing of value to offer besides simple stones. The visitor recalls Border Town used to be a place full of valuable furs. He looks around, clearly disappointed by the current state of the area. Prince Roland listens calmly while the man continues to voice his complaints. Roland explains how expanding the defensive line would help integrate the surrounding lands. The visitor is shocked to see that the expected trade yard is completely empty. Roland remains composed as the man expresses his frustration over the empty space. The man insists that they were supposed to conduct their business right there today. Roland stays quiet, seemingly unbothered by the visitor's rising agitation. The two men decide to leave the area and ride their horses elsewhere. They continue their journey, wondering if they should head toward the town or the ridge. The visitor complains about the high cost and poor condition of the horses. He gestures sharply while discussing the situation with his companion. He points out a boat from Willow Town, suggesting they are being watched. A red-sailed boat moves along the water, carrying goods toward their destination. The visitor looks on, feeling deeply concerned about his upcoming business meeting. He worries that his old negotiation tactics will fail with this new prince. They arrive at the prince's castle, feeling nervous about the meeting ahead. The visitor prepares himself to finally face the mysterious Prince Roland. He wonders what kind of person the fourth prince truly is. The prince hosts the visitor for a meal in his grand dining hall. The visitor is confused by the strange wooden sticks provided for eating. The prince watches him, waiting to see if he can figure out the tools. Prince Roland enjoys his meal while using chopsticks, leaving his guest feeling confused and awkward. The nervous visitor struggles to handle the small food items with his own pair of chopsticks. He accidentally drops a piece of food, causing him to panic under the prince's steady gaze. Roland calmly explains his new hygiene rules to prevent illnesses from spreading among his own people. A small, knowing smile plays on the prince's face as he continues his meal with ease. The visitor listens intently, feeling the weight of the prince's words during their formal dinner. Roland mentions that mine work is delayed and will likely not resume until next year. The visitor reacts with visible stress, clearly worried about the implications of the prince's news. Roland asks the ambassador if he remembers the harsh conditions from 2 years ago. A flashback shows the grim reality of people struggling to survive in the freezing snow. Roland maintains a serious expression as he prepares to make his next important point. He warns that sticking to old trading methods will leave his people without enough food. Roland knows that winning over his father, the king, will be a very difficult task. Despite the high stakes, he knows he must try to succeed for his people. The ambassador speaks up, ready to present his own proposal to the young prince. He plans to return to Longsong's stronghold tomorrow and wants Roland to come along. The ambassador suggests that working with Longsong's stronghold is better for Roland's people. The ambassador tries to sound confident, but he is clearly nervous about the situation. Roland listens calmly, his face betraying nothing of his true inner thoughts. The ambassador suddenly panics, realizing he may have accidentally threatened a royal prince. He is terrified by his own bold words and worries about the potential consequences. Roland firmly states that he has no intention of hiding away in Willow Town. The ambassador is shocked by Roland's refusal to back down from his current position. Roland declares that Border Town will soon be the new, proud border of his kingdom. The ambassador is shocked when Roland mentions the wall at Border Town. The wall is meant to protect the town from incoming demonic beasts. Other nobles mock Roland, calling him a fool for building during the demon season. They think he is just a lazy prince who talks nonsense to commoners. The nobles laugh, betting that Roland will panic when the beasts actually arrive. They never believed rumors that a real wall was being built so quickly. The ambassador wonders how Roland found the manpower to finish such a project. Everyone previously thought the prince was just a spoiled, useless royal. The ambassador is clearly nervous, realizing the prince is far more capable than expected. He remains deeply unsettled by the reality of the massive wall. The noble is shocked to realize the prince is much more dangerous than he thought. He worries that the prince has hidden strategies he did not anticipate. He notes how the ambassador failed and left in a hurry. Suddenly, a mysterious woman in a white hood appears in his room. She keeps her face hidden under the deep shadow of her hood. She reveals a sharp, confident smile while staring directly at him. The noble panics, realizing an assassin has infiltrated his private quarters. He lunges toward the door in a desperate attempt to escape his fate. The mysterious woman raises her hand, ready to strike him down instantly. She throws a small, sharp object with incredible speed and deadly precision. The projectile slams into the door, effectively blocking his only exit. The noble is now trapped with the intruder, having nowhere left to run. The mysterious woman in the hood stands silently in the noble's room. She suddenly uses her power to hold a blade right against his throat. The terrified noble trembles and demands to know who this dangerous intruder is. The woman replies calmly that she does not have a real name. She reveals that her sisters in the witch group call her Nightingale. Nightingale steps closer, keeping the trapped noble under her complete control. She looks at him with intense, glowing purple eyes that show no fear. She thanks him for the kindness he showed toward witches in the past. The noble is confused by her strange gratitude while he is being threatened. She shows him a special golden triangle emblem pinned to her cloak. He suddenly recalls a warning that this symbol represents a powerful group. Roland looks closely at the mysterious hooded woman, waiting to hear why she secretly snuck in. Roland directly asks her if the real reason she came to his room was because of Anna. The hooded intruder remains silent while Roland stands across the room to hear her reply. She stands quietly under her white cloak, her glowing purple eyes fixed on the young prince. She explains that the Witch Cooperation Association rarely interferes with the affairs of royal princes. Her sharp purple eyes focus on Roland as she admits to secretly observing his every move. Roland listens intently as she mentions how well the rescued witch has been living here. Roland points out that she arrived a week ago without ever meeting him face to face. Roland gets nervous knowing this secretive witch watched everything he did over the past week. He regains his calm composure and asks if she came here to thank him instead. Smiling under her cozy hood, she politely invites Prince Roland to sit down and talk. The mysterious witch tells Roland that her appearance is not scary at all. She stares intensely at the prince while she speaks to him. She smiles confidently as she continues to address the prince. She asks Roland if she is correct about her assessment of him. The witch looks calm and composed as she waits for his response. She sits down on the edge of the bed beside the prince. She taps the bed, inviting Roland to sit and talk with her. The two of them sit together on the bed to begin their conversation. She notes that Roland is not afraid of her, just as she expected. She gazes at him with a mysterious and knowing expression. She prepares to reveal more details about her true intentions. The mysterious witch reaches out to speak with Prince Roland about her hidden goals. She asks the prince if he truly understands the location of the witch's sanctuary. She confirms the association is hiding in the mountains, which is considered a safe place. Prince Roland suddenly worries about the living conditions and basic necessities for the witches. He recalls a past conversation where his official, Barov, mentioned something important. Barov had suggested that all witches should gather to search for the holy mountain together. The witch holds up a small token, claiming it is the only path to true peace. Prince Roland has a sudden realization and looks surprised by her mysterious words. The witch watches him closely as he processes this new and unexpected information. Roland scratches his head, trying to make sense of the situation and her claims. He claps his hands together, finally understanding the true meaning behind her secret plan. The witch looks back at him, waiting to see how the prince will respond now. The story continues with a deep look into the dangerous life of a witch. Chapter 18 begins with a dark explanation of the witch's awakening process. Witches usually awaken during the brutal months of the demon each year. A young woman must awaken by age 18 to have any hope of becoming a witch. If a girl does not awaken by that age, she will never gain magic powers. Once they come of age, witches face a recurring nightmare during the demon months. They suffer from intense, agonizing pain that feels like their body is tearing apart. The suffering is so extreme that it affects every vessel, muscle, and tendon inside them. Witches who are strong enough to endure this torture can recover after several days. However, those who cannot withstand the overwhelming pain face a much darker fate. The process is violent and can lead to a painful death for the weak. Many young witches perish during this brutal transformation, ending their lives in total agony. The brutal, painful transformation into a witch often leads to a terrifying and public death. This gruesome reality is exactly why the church paints all witches as evil devils. The witch continues to explain the dark history of how their kind was persecuted. She describes how church propaganda turned the public against them, labeling them as monsters. Prince Roland listens intently, clearly troubled by the weight of these tragic revelations. The witch looks at Roland, wondering if he truly understands the danger they face. Roland questions if it is really true that witches must suffer so much alone. The gravity of the situation settles over them as they discuss the witch's plight. The witch stares back, her intense gaze showing the deep pain of her past. Roland remains silent, processing everything he has just learned about their cursed existence. Roland worries about his new plan, fearing it puts witches like Anna in danger. He makes a mental note to meet with Nanapine tomorrow to discuss his strategy. Nightingale continues speaking to the young girl, confirming her positive impression of her character. She tells the girl that she has truly not misjudged her intentions or her spirit. The two stand in the room as Nightingale prepares to explain the coming hardships. The girl looks startled and defensive, insisting that she is not what they think. Nightingale watches her closely, her eyes sharp and focused on the girl's reaction. Nightingale maintains a steady, intense gaze, refusing to be swayed by the girl's denial. With a serious expression, Nightingale leans in to deliver a very important message. She looks the girl in the eyes and swears that she is telling the truth. She mentions the girl's approaching maturity as a pivotal moment in her life. Nightingale warns that the dangerous months of the demons begin in only 2 months. She urges the girl to head to the safe camp immediately to ensure her survival. Nightingale dismisses the girl's previous comments about wanting to live a normal life. The young girl clenches her dress tightly as she listens to the serious warning. The girl insists that the upcoming dangers will not be able to kill her. She declares with confidence that she will prevail over the coming threat. Her eyes burn with determination as she prepares to face her difficult future. Nightingale sighs, clearly worried about the girl's safety during the harsh winter. Nightingale asks if the girl truly intends to face this dangerous path all alone. Nightingale warns that beginners do not understand how deadly the coming age truly is. The girl is shocked and asks if Nightingale plans to monitor her all winter. The girl panics at the thought of being watched constantly by the mysterious woman. Nightingale stands firm, watching over the girl as they discuss the grim reality. Nightingale shares her painful history of surviving near-death experiences and losing many comrades. Because of her past, Nightingale vows to use her experience to protect the girl. The young girl stands firm, refusing to back down from the coming danger. Nightingale draws her blade, ready to face any threat that approaches them. Nightingale appears with a confident smile, clearly prepared for the fight ahead. She tells the group that she will be watching over them closely. True, the girl stands before the closed door, feeling the weight of the moment. The girl realizes the true nature of Nightingale's unique and silent power. She recognizes that Nightingale is a natural-born assassin with incredible stealth abilities. The girl processes this revelation, looking at Nightingale with newfound understanding and respect. Nightingale gently pats the girl's head and tells her to go get some sleep. The girl looks up, her eyes wide as she listens to the advice. Feeling safe and reassured, the girl prepares to head off to bed. The young girl feels calm and safe as she prepares to finally get some rest. Prince Roland stands before his people in the town square to make an announcement. He looks serious as he addresses the crowd gathered to hear his important news. A large crowd of townspeople gathers in the square to listen to their prince. Roland speaks with authority, preparing to explain the difficult situation they are currently facing. He tells everyone that he has gathered them to share critical information about the town. Roland reveals that the town's production is struggling and is currently unable to resume. The people discuss the recent problems, noting that ore production fell to half its normal amount. They mention that many workers were injured during the recent mining accidents in the town. Roland promises that Border Town will pay back the missing ore by the next winter. The crowd reacts with worry, fearing that this negotiation will lead to another food shortage. Prince Roland stares at the crowd, asking how much more they can endure. He acknowledges the tragic loss of brothers and children in the mines. The grieving townspeople listen intently, their faces filled with sorrow and fear. True, Roland sternly asks them how much they are willing to lose again. The desperate people cry out, begging the prince to save them. Roland coughs into his hand, showing he is struggling with his own health. He addresses the crowd, frustrated that they were cheated for so long. Roland explains he traded the ore for food to survive the winter. He proudly announces that there is now enough food for everyone. However, he reaches out to warn them of a new, difficult problem. He reveals the stronghold is cut off, forcing them to stay here. Prince Roland stands before the crowd, determined to motivate them for the upcoming winter defense. The townspeople listen intently as the prince explains that sturdy defensive walls are currently being built. Roland speaks with authority, urging the people to prepare for the challenges that lie ahead. He explains that their enemies are not strong enough to easily break through their new defenses. True, Roland asks if they will hide like cowards or stand with him to protect their families. He challenges them to defend Border Town until the very end, showing his resolve as a leader. Roland promises that anyone who fights on the wall will be rewarded for their hard work. He shows them a pile of gold coins to prove that he will keep his promise. The people look at their prince, clearly moved by his bold plan and his generous offer. The crowd cheers in agreement, shouting that they are ready to fight for their prince. The townspeople raise their fists, united and ready to defend their home against the coming threat. The people of Border Town pledge their loyalty to Prince Roland. They vow to defend their home until the very end. Their unified spirit strengthens the prince's resolve to survive. The town prepares for the harsh winter and looming danger. Far away, noblemen mock the prince's efforts at his castle. They laugh at Roland for building a wall before winter arrives. One man claims the wall will easily crumble on its own. They hope to control the prince once he is left isolated. The leader, Petrov, listens as his associates plan their move. The group discusses the potential benefits of this coming winter. They hope to buy valuable ores at a very cheap price. However, they remain cautious about the prince's true intentions. Roland explains that increasing ore production will lead to much higher profits soon. He plans to manufacture and sell his own ironware to make more money. Roland believes iron goods are always in high demand regardless of the location. The official listens carefully as Roland outlines his ambitious vision for the town. The official asks Roland to get to the main point of his proposal. Blank. True Roland argues that they can stop struggling against demonic beasts every single year. He suggests that Longsong Stronghold should help build walls and defend Border Town. Roland believes this partnership will help the entire region become more prosperous. The official stares at Roland, considering the bold request for military assistance. A small smile forms on the official's face as he contemplates the plan. The official finally agrees with Roland, admitting that his idea is correct. Prince Roland asserts his authority, declaring that his territory is strictly off-limits to outsiders. He stares firmly at the official, emphasizing that he will not allow any interference. Roland makes it clear that his land is his own personal domain to manage. He turns away, stating that this rule applies to everyone, even for a prince. The prince walks toward a new project, his shadow stretching across the wooden floor. Roland proudly shows off a complex piece of machinery he has developed for production. He explains to a young girl that this machine creates seamless parts with ease. A hand runs across the smooth metal surface to demonstrate its high build quality. A man looks on with excitement, claiming this invention is perfect for an engineer. The man kneels before Roland, clearly impressed by the prince's incredible mechanical design. Prince Roland watches his invention with a confident and knowing smile on his face. His companion looks at the strange metal machine and asks if it uses boiling water. Anna uses her fire magic to heat the machine, powering it up for a test. Anna watches with wide eyes as the machine begins to show signs of life. The metal parts of the engine begin to vibrate and hiss with intense pressure. Suddenly, the wooden wool begins to spin rapidly as the machine starts to work. The engine roars to life, and Anna continues to carefully control the heat source. The group looks on in complete shock at the incredible power of the device. Roland explains that this invention will replace both human labor and animal strength. He notes that the machine's raw power is so great that even knights cannot resist it. The massive wooden wheel keeps spinning, proving that Roland's new invention is a success. Prince Roland studies his new invention with a serious and focused expression. He thinks about how this machine needs no food, sleep, or protection. Roland realizes that adding a ram to the front creates a deadly weapon. The prince ponders the game-changing potential of his new industrial creation. He wonders if the era of traditional knights is finally coming to end. Roland shares his excitement, noting that his farming plans are moving forward well. He believes this steam engine is a major step toward a new era. Blank. True night falls over the territory as the moon rises in the sky. The castle stands quiet and dark under the late-night stars. A man in a formal suit stands by a door, looking very concerned. His wide eyes suggest he has just discovered something truly shocking. A man in a suit enters the room and finds a mysterious woman waiting there. The woman recognizes him and tells him to leave her alone immediately. She coldly asks him to respect her privacy and stop invading her space. The man is frustrated and yells that this room is definitely not hers. The woman remains calm and continues to focus on the papers in her hands. She mentions that a certain person is just as skilled as a royal master. She shows him a technical drawing of a machine and asks about the stove. The confused man wonders how she managed to obtain these secret engineering plans. The woman stares back at him with a mysterious and knowing look. She keeps her expression sharp while waiting for his reaction to the blueprints. The man looks on, stunned by her deep knowledge of the prince's technology. The woman points to the engine design and asks what the machine can do. The mysterious woman explains the machine can move heavy ore and help with forging. She gives a cold, confident smile while holding the secret blueprints hostage. She tells the man she will keep the stolen documents for herself now. The intruder stands tall, clearly enjoying her complete control over the situation. She mockingly stuffs the papers into her cloak, ignoring the man's angry protests. She continues to tease him while tucking the stolen items away safely. Blank. True, she reveals she intercepted a secret message intended for the prince's camp. The man is left completely stunned and panicked by her bold actions. He stares in disbelief, realizing how much trouble he is truly in. She taunts him, claiming his group of witches is not as loyal as he thinks. She prepares to leave, keeping her weapon ready as she dominates the room. The mysterious woman reads a letter detailing her mission to kill Prince Roland. She calls out to Tyre and asks if she should handle the situation. She mockingly recalls how the old Prince Roland used to flirt with women. The woman stares intensely, waiting for a response to her bold suggestion. She asks the prince if he needs her help to settle the matter. Prince Roland remains silent and composed as he listens to her taunts. The woman stands up from her seat, preparing to make her move. She stands tall, looking confident and ready to leave with her prize. She focuses on her boots, signaling that her departure is imminent. She declares that she will take the stolen blueprints as her reward. If you want part 2 of this video, drop a comment, and at 1,000 likes I'll release part 2. Tell us in the comments how much you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe for part 2.